Alright, so if I butcher this, please forgive me. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros. Bienvenidos a nuestra transmisión de esta noche de la NACL. Yo soy MalfaSex, estoy aquí con Estudio. Y vamos a tener la próxima partida de la noche. Van a ser Seven Wars Lyon contra vVv. Estudio, bienvenido.
Bien, pues gracias. ¿Cómo
Okay,
estás, Malfas? ¿Cómo estás?
That was trash. I feel so bad. I get so nervous when I try to speak Spanish in
I
front
know.
of people. But anyway,
it's one of those things. But like you said, Seven Wars Lyon going up against vVv. How you feeling about it, Spanish aside?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. This is gonna be a fun game. These guys apparently already have a massive game plan. They already know exactly what they want to get done. As all three bans have already come out, Nidalee, Lulu, and Caitlyn being banned away here from the side of Seven Wars Lyon. And the bans coming out here from vVv are going to be Evelynn, Kha'Zix, and Yasuo. Already through our first phase of picks as well, as the Pantheon jungle got immediately gobbled up. And then we see Renekton and Elise going to be the lock-ins here for Chris and Get Snuggled.
We haven't seen a Pantheon for actually quite some time. I want to say a couple weeks. It might have slipped through once or twice, as he's just been on permaban status. But Renekton Elise, this is an incredibly good start for vVv. Renekton is one of those classic Chris champions, that dominant top laner. Very few top laners have been matching up well versus him recently. And Elise, she's gotten nerfs, so it might be a solid pick. It might just be okay. We're going to have to see how that one pans out. But with Pantheon, Thresh, LeBlanc doesn't really factor into this equation. Pantheon Thresh is one of the best combos in the game because it gives you that early game ganking pressure with Thresh's Lantern and Pantheon's reliable click stun. And then mid game, you get, of course, oh, there's a Pantheon on top of me and a Thresh's landed death sentence. I am dead. There is nothing I can do to escape this.
And that's generally the last place you want to find a Pantheon. So he yells, "This is Sparta," and then a well opens up behind you and he kicks you into it.
If you ever
Pantheon
look
is now
up
Leonidas.
and you see up Pantheon's outfit, you're in for a heap of trouble.
What is that when you're like a Spartan? What is that?
I don't actually know.
I actually want to know the name of.
Targan? I think it's Targan.
Okay, fair enough. In either case, we see the Lucian is going to get locked in here for Tails. Makes a lot of sense. And then Gonti will not be able to have access to the Thresh because that's gotten locked in here for Nersul. So he's just going to grab himself a Leona instead. Makes a lot of sense. It's going to be a pretty good matchup here. And now they're actually holding off on their mid laner until the very, very last pick. Even though they already know that they're picking into LeBlanc, they just feel more comfortable grabbing up the bottom lane combination together. So I like this. I like this setup.
Yeah, I think it's more about getting the high priority picks rather than revealing. As like they already revealed their top and jungle, and at that point, the reveals from Lyon was jungle and mid and support. So there wasn't really a lot left for them to be surprised by. When you see a Thresh, you can make some assumptions. Locking in Leona Lucian, that's kind of scary just because Leona is not necessarily the most reliable target versus Thresh. You can always play the Zenith Blade combination in, but that's really hard to do. It requires amazing positioning to do that for an AD carry. So Leona will still have, of course, have her ultimate as well, and it's not a rough situation. Yorick did get locked in. I'm assuming that we'll not be seeing a Yorick today. That will be a repick. I'll go ahead and get confirmation as to what that is.
Yorick is Trundle is what is in the chat here. I believe that is actually Chris's. Yeah, Yorick Trundle. Yep, that is actually Chris's Twitch name. So go spam him with follows, guys, and then tell him that he is a nerd because he sings to his rubber ducky in the bathtub still at the age of 72.
Yeah. But with that Trundle pick, we still need that last pick from vVv. We'll see what they lock in. Because they had the last pick themselves, it didn't really matter. Like they could leave the lobby early. We can just go ahead. Get surprised by that in a bit. Still though, I want to see how vVv deals with Thresh Express into Pantheon, both early and mid game. Mid game, it's fun because you just send your mid laner back to base, you send him bot lane with a Thresh Express, and you still gank with Pantheon anyways, and you set up 4v2s that are essentially unstoppable. Like supports die left and right to that. As I do not know how you escape Pantheon ganks as a support without mobility or being a very tanky Leona. Tanky Leona can work, but it's not guaranteed to.
All right, so everybody's back in the lobby here, so now we just need for the game to get started back up again one more time. So basically, we're all waiting for Get Snuggled. So everyone, I don't have his Twitter right in front of me, but find it and spam it to press the big orange button.
Come on, Get Snuggled. Come on. I'm waiting for it. Get Snuggled, of course, has to get Snuggly himself before he can start this game on up. There we go. Back into picks and bans. Let's see if we get any good spellings.
Okay, apparently something really horrific happened with my internet connection there because lagged out a little bit, and then the game didn't start until like 5 seconds after you said something. So big fingers crossed that I am still part of what's going on right now.
I like how much time Lyon was taking banning the champions. I was hoping we'd see one of those always fun, I accidentally ban the champion, I'm going to play moment.
That's always a good one. But Uri banned out, and Yek.
Yeah.
So we got from the bans. I always like reading those, except for when they're inappropriate, and that's always the height of unprofessionalism. And shame on any team that does that.
I mean, it is. There's a reason that a lot of player check it's limited. Players are not exactly the cleanest bunch, but damn, sometimes they will say some really gross stuff, or sometimes will make like the dumbest messages in bans. But we do see Gragas being locked in now for the mid lane. Now Gragas versus LeBlanc, that's a lane that is not super rough for Gragas just because he pushes in so much, but he can still get bursted down theoretically. We'll probably see a farming LeBlanc build come out of this just because versus Gragas, it's so hard to ever pressure him as he's tossing out barrels and he disappears from lane immediately after. So it'll be fun to see how LeBlanc deals with this though.
LeBlanc does still have a lot of kill pressure as well. As you start hitting like the level 3 to 5 and 6 area, despite the damage reduction that Gragas has, there's just so much potential for LeBlanc to get all of her burst off because he is a melee champion. So it can be pretty difficult for him to deal with in certain contexts and certain situations. You also have to give the junglers so much respect in this kind of matchup as well. They're both playing such incredibly aggressive early game junglers with Pantheon and Elise that have so much presence and kill pressure that it can be very, very scary. It can get very scary very quickly.
Yeah, it can be a dangerous matchup nonetheless. It's that early pressure, like you said, 3 to 5 and 6. 6 because she gets the ultimate, 3 to 5 because Gragas is stuck in the lane. But once he hits level 7, once he hits level 9 especially, he just takes out the range minions one swipe, and LeBlanc is almost forced to distortion back in, and they both play the farm up waves as quickly as they can game, which they're actually both quite good at if we see a distortion max come out from LeBlanc. But with that, we're getting to the 3-minute delay, so we have to go ahead and, of course, give a shout-out to our fantastic sponsors. So first of all, a shout-out to Loot Crate. Loot Crate, they've been with us since the start. For $13.37 a month, you can get a crate of loot sent to your door. That crate can contain various nerd, swag, apparel, knickknacks, patty wax. It's got it all. The theme for this month's crate will be Attack on Titanfall, so get your anime, get your mech, go ahead and check out lootcrate.com. We also have Phoenix Peripherals, who make high-quality, impeccably crafted computer peripherals. For example, they have keyboard, mice, mouse pads, and headsets, and all of it is top-notch stuff. So go ahead and check out Phoenix Peripherals.
Absolutely. Also, be sure to check out lawclass.com for 1 hour. You can hop into a group lesson with some of your favorite pros playing some of their favorite champions. We've got 6 teams from the LCS taking part, so be sure to check that out and see what upcoming classes are available and which ones you can get yourself in on. Also, big shout out to Monster Cat for providing some of the music we'll be using in our production here tonight. Big shout out to those guys. They've been huge friends of the esports community, particularly for League of Legends. At least that's the only scene I really know anything about. But it's been really, really nice to see how much they've supported us, so it's nice to be able to give something back to them. So do be sure to check them out as well.
But with that, we're going to go ahead, take a quick short break, make sure all the players load in nice and safely. But we'll be right back here at the North American Challenger League with 7 Wars Lyon going up against vVv.
carrying coffins.
And welcome back to the North American.
You know that awkward moment where you're in a hallway?
I'm doing it, Mal.
Go for it. I was just gonna bullshit around for a while, but you go ahead, man. This is your show.
All right, Malvis, you can do it.
I hate you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the North American Challenger League. This is our fourth game of the evening. It's going to pit 7 Wars Lyon in the blue up against vVv in the red. I am Malphus X, being joined here by Studio. And we just got through one of those awkward moments in the hallway where both people want to go the same direction at the same time to avoid running into each other. And they end up giving one another a hug, because that's how bro Studio and I are.
Well, actually, the proper response to that, if you're trying to walk in the opposite direction of someone else and they're blocking your path, is you puff up your chest to look as large and intimidating as possible to scare off all prey. Now, you can see both sides not going for the invade, as invades are a thing of the past. 2v1s are coming back, that's the new hip trendy thing to do, but we can see both AD carrying support for both sides hanging out in the bottom parts of the map, so I'd expect less of the 2v1. We've seen some pretty good Draven play before, but Draven, not one of those mobile champions, definitely going to be kind of weak versus a good Gragas ultimate, a good Lyon initiation. He needs to burn that flesh when appropriate, because without that cooldown, he is a sitting Draven.
I see what you did there.
Quite a duck.
He's actually a blood rush running away as fast as he can, Draven, whenever he isn't hard CC'd, which is, I mean, against Leona, you spend a lot of time hard CC'd, especially with Cocoon coming in. But if he's able to juke out that Zenith Blade, then it's, you know, he can keep himself pretty alive in that one. Not too bad, not too bad.
Now, well, I want to see how Elise does in the jungle, as her numbers have been changed quite a bit. No longer that fantastic 300 damage cap versus jungle monsters, but I don't know if that affects her in the jungle for the most clears as much as it does for Baron plays and Dragon plays, so we'll see how that comes into effect. And also, I want to see how if Pekimov can land barrels versus Ian, because Draven, he is relatively dependent on attack speed. He gets a lot from his W. You want to try to maximize those spinning axes, which a lot of attack speed doesn't really benefit from because you still have to catch them. You're waiting on that. But in the end, because he's going to have a lot of downtime, if you can still nullify his attack speed, he's like any other AD carry in that regard, where he's very, very weak when hit by a Wither, and Gragas' barrels have pretty strong attack speed slows on them as well.
Alright, so we will get the resume coming back down here. And, oh, so much action all of a sudden. The champions are moving across the map. I can't even keep up right now.
All that dancing, all that dancing. No more dancing, though, as we're not looking at Gragas. Not shaking his belly no more, unfortunately. We do see grouping up coming out now from vVv. Okay, everything I said about the 2v1 was wrong, as they're all grouped up, all waiting. Maybe they're expecting the invade, or they're just going to be swapping up the lanes.
Alright, so, yeah, this is very possible, keeping the AD carry and support on this side of the map very long. This also kind of indicates that they want to go for an aggressive blue invasion. That's one of the things that you tend to do to get the most efficiency out of bringing the AD carry and support to the top lane now. Since you lose a lot of your early damage output onto the tower because of that extra damage block, you kind of have to get something else done. And so invading a blue buff is a really, really good way to do that, especially against a champion that has as much early pressure as a Pantheon. This is a very, very smart decision.
Now, they're going to know about the invade because Trundle will spot them out, but also just the timings as they get into a lane, and the time they approach from, they know their blue buff is gone. There is no way it survived. So, I want to see how Thiak kind of responds to this. Will he go ahead and roam towards the blue buff vVv? Will he try and secure that for himself right now? Because if he's looking for it, he might run into Elise, depending on whether she rotates towards red buff or goes defensively. Pantheon's also in the mid lane, actually, looking for like a level 2 gank.
Oh, he's going to flash in for this one. They do get the stun on the
They're going to get it.
Ignite. Huge burst damage, and Seiya gets the first blood.
Fortunately for Gragas, still level 1, does not have that mitigation he so desperately needs from Drunken Rage and just getting blown up and dying. That was incredibly well played. A, because who expects a level 2 gank like that? B, that was Seiya pushing and early abusing his auto attack to just outpush Gragas and hit level 2 first, have that distortion, silence, Ziggle silence combo just to burst him down ASAP. So very well played by 7 Wars Lyon, taking the early advantage. It's not a huge kill in terms of gold though, because we're still in the early game, and of course those early game kills don't provide as much as kills past the 4-minute mark.
Alright, so Thiak going to be able to get the opposing blue buff down, so he is going to be able to keep the buffs even in the first rotation here. They're going to go 2 for 2. Chris going to get hooked in. There's the stand aside as well. They use the fillet at pretty much the same time, so they don't stack the CCs up, but they do get a decent amount of damage down onto him. He's got the Doran Shield plus some extra potions to help him sustain, but he's not been able to kind of stymie too much aggression. Meanwhile, vVv, I mean, they've just completely taken over the top lane. Yeah, this turret has a little bit of extra block, but Elise plus her Spiderlings plus the attack speed buff of Skittering Frenzy is really, really strong. And it looks like both top lane is just going to get completely zoned out while their towers die.
Turret's going to go ahead, ignore any of those champions, as there were a good 10-15 minions in that first push. He fact on the Spiderlings as well, and it was just so much to tank up that turret. Bottom turret down very, very low as well, so it could be turret for turret, but you can see the top push hasn't stopped yet. Until they send someone there, Trundle has no option. Porky, he started with a bite most likely, as all other Trundle's other skills are not very good for this, or in general, on their own. So he has to go up to melee range to do anything, and obviously he goes into melee range versus 3 level 3 champions, he's going to die.
Very, very quickly, especially with as much CC as they have. Zenith Blade, stun, Elise goes in. If Elise even opens up with a Q, then she has the ability to repel and drop tower aggro without having to walk away and be able to maintain damage output. So really, really strong push coming out here from vVv. They're going to be able to get both towers down in the top lane.
There we go, top turret secured. Only a 300 gold lead though in favor of vVv, as the turret push in early first blood means that both sides really kind of equal in the overall objectives. Bottom turret should not go down though, as vVv will be recalling back to base and can easily rotate and protect that major objective. Now, who's come out ahead here? Well, we're 5 minutes in. Porky is level 1. Porky is level 1. I have to repeat that one more time. Peckinwolf almost going down the mid lane though. Does dodge out the ethereal chains and will survive. But Trundle, he's so incredibly far behind now. You can try and farm up if he stalls out the wave, but Renekton, if they do meet up anytime soon, will just absolutely destroy Trundle.
And that, honestly, the ethereal chains not landing was crucial there. The Peckinwolf had dropped down again. That once you put LeBlanc on a 2-kill lead, that's enough of a snowball lead to just start bullying around any matchup, particularly LeBlanc versus a melee champion. Would have been really, really brutal there. See, Seiya has got at least, I think he needs like 4 points in the utility tree in order to have the biscuits. No, 9 points in order to have the biscuits. So he's going to be rocking that one out. A little bit of extra sustain, helping out quite a bit here as he goes back in on a Peckinwolf one more time. This time the ethereal chains do land. He gets the silence down as Peckinwolf tried to turn around and roll the barrel. Wasn't able to do so, and then he just blinks himself right back out. That said, vVv continuing their objective control domination as they're able to take down the first dragon of the game right at the 6-minute mark.
Despite that kill and despite the 10 CS lead, Gragas, he's only behind by about 200 gold at this point, and that first blood is not worth that much because it was so early on in the game. So Gragas, he's doing okay. He knows he's behind, but he knows he's not behind by all that much as his team is just doing so much more work across the map. Now, Chris only level 4. Porky's done a really good job of freezing the wave up top. You can see he's still by his inhibitor turret, and obviously Chris, as mobile and escape-oriented as Renekton can be with Slice and Dice, it's still going to be very risky for him to go that far into the top lane. So he can go up there, he can try and push and just punish Porky a bit. Porky's now level 3. can at least spar versus Chris. And more importantly, Chris is going to be very, very exposed. Trying to escape a Trundle that has Pillar to spam, especially when being chased by a Pantheon, if he does go for that gank, is incredibly difficult.
So we see Draven farming under tower. One of the best AD carries in the game at farming under the tower because of the extremely high damage he has from the spinning axes. So he's not having too hard of a time with this one. And right now, the extra tower is not really opening up as much for vVv as they might like. They do have a 400 gold gap, but that's while being up a tower and a dragon. So the mid lane matchup is starting to go better and better for Seiya. The longer it goes on, he's being able to kind of pull himself further and further ahead of Peek and Wolf. It'll be interesting to see what happens now that Peek and Wolf has been able to invade and steal away the opposing blue buff. And they're not done. Picking on poor Porky. He's going to try to get himself away from this one. There is the ult there. Will it put him in the wall? Yes, indeed it does. But Chris cannot get into range to get the Ruthless Predator stunned down. And just like that, Porky will be able to keep himself alive without having to burn any summoner spells.
And by keeping himself alive, A, he doesn't give up that goal. And B, this means across the map, the rest of Seven Wars Lyon doesn't have to be worried about giving up objectives. Like, all right, top lane survives. We're not going to lose our top inhibitor at the 8-minute mark. This means that LeBlanc can keep pushing in mid, Seiya at level 7, has a 16 CS lead over Gragas. Bottom lane can keep pushing in, keep farming up. Most of the goal difference now is going to be based on Leona versus Thresh with those objectives. And really, there's not a lot of good coming out from some of these objective pushes, even though it might be going down.
We see the flash coming back forward here as Gandhi wants to continue this one. Looks like they'll be able to get the disengage as the Flay is just too strong right now from NACL.
Yeah, that Flay disengage, one of the strongest in the game. However, Draven only has a Doran's Blade versus Lucian's Doran's Blade Vampiric Scepter, so he can't really stay and keep sustaining. Now top turret's being pressured, and now Seven Wars Lyon have to start making the plays happen, because they're going to lose their inhibitor turret if this keeps up at the 9-minute mark.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, that said, the inhibitor tower will regen, so they just need to get some pressure there to keep it from going down right now. The cocoon does land on the Theac. They drop all the damage. The Venomous Bite still doing a lot of hurt. The flash comes out. Counter flash coming out for Chris. One more auto attack is good to pick up that kill and the red buff. We see Porky will be able to pick up the kill on to get snuggled. The Ignite helping out with that one quite a bit. Now we see he's got the Subjugate down. He's absolutely enormous compared to Chris, and he's going to walk away with a double kill and a sorely needed infusion of gold.
Big old Trundle double kill. Top turret should be able to regen by the time the more pressure comes out onto it. That's a huge defensive play. Pekka takes a bit of damage in the mid lane. Not too much though. Has the ultimate available, as Seiya well aware this doesn't want to go for too aggressive a punish because he could very easily die in response. Still though, that was an aggressive play. They almost got the kill, but they're going against an inhibitor turret 9 minutes into the game. They're not tanky enough to survive that damage. One shot is enough to really just kind of stop an outright push like that. They could not go for an extended dive like they wanted to.
All right, now we see they're just continuing the dive onto Gonti. Gonti puts himself completely out of position on this. He's going to go down, and he ends up giving the kill over to Ian, who picks up a 422 gold bonus thanks to his passive. That was, the Pantheon gank coming in, and you just don't really have a whole lot of options once he drops on your face like that.
Pantheon, that is the reason he is banned out so much. He punishes almost any movement in the bot lane or mid lane. Top lane can be a bit rough. Seiya is not going to turret though.
Knocked into the turret. Oh, that barrel roll is going to be quite off target. Gets snuggled. Looks like he wants to try to make something happen here. Does choose the right target. No, indeed he does not. Backs away. Theac in the area. See Seiya going to cancel the distortion, or come back from the distortion rather. Going to try to get into range, but a cocoon going to stop that aggression there. And Theac cannot continue chasing because there's no top lane support. And if he does chase a little bit too hard, Chris can just hop, skip, and a jump away from ruining his day.
Not exactly hard for Chris to go ahead and just let me slice over this wall and kill you, Pantheon. Still, though, Seiya survives. Theac able to help back him up. They can try and apply some turret to the mid objective, but Pekka Wolf's still around there, can toss out barrels. Regardless, 800 gold lead in favor of Seven Wars Lyon. Now, how do they proceed from here? Do they keep going for the laning? Because Draven so far, he's got a Bloodthirster. You compare this to Tails, he'll be a little bit behind because Draven did get that massive infusion of gold. He'll have his own Bloodthirster and about 100 gold. So if they want to get the item, actually Chris being dope top lane.
Subjugate one more time, taking those tanky stats away from Chris. Porky just continuing to tank this one up, and Theac's going to pick that kill up. Eat one tower shot after the passive soaks the first one, and just like that, they dive a Renekton as if it were nothing. Of course, he hasn't built any tank stats yet. Gets snuggled, going to get hooked, but he's not going to get locked up at the stand inside. NACL's not going to go in onto that one, so that'll be the end of the aggression there.
Chris not building tank stacks, it's really going to come punish him in a second or so, because, well, I mean, he can be dove on. This is not like a normal laning Renekton where you expect him to finish Tiamat very early, very far ahead of his opposition. He's going to be finishing the Tiamat as Porky finishes a Blade of the Rune King, essentially, there's little benefit to no benefit for Chris right now getting that Tiamat, just because even though you use it for all that wave clear, it's already a bad matchup for Renekton in terms of sustained damage anyways. And he's so far ahead with that double kill and that CS lead from freezing the lane that Chris is just going to be far behind. He really needs some help now. He needs a lot of aid, but Tails does get hooked in.
And they're going to go for this initiation as well. They have the man drop coming down. It will land a little bit late. He does get the stun down onto Tails. Avoids the solar flare rather coming out from this one. Now NACL trying to get himself away. Body slam comes in from Peek, and Wolf will be able to pick that kill up. Now he's trying to continue in onto this one. Thiak is not going to have the damage I put on this. We see it's going to be one kill going over to Ian before he falls down. Gaunty going to want to pick that up as well. Thiak now turns in, drops the burst. Seiya is here on the other side. Thiak going to be the one to pick that kill up. Ignite going down will not be enough. Survives with 28 HP and a health potion already taken down. So crazy engagement, ends up being a 2 for 2, but you have to say that this is going to go in favor of Seven Wars Lyon, as now they have the opportunity to push in and take down the dragon.
They're going to get the dragon. A kill also went to Draven, so that passive now giving him about 586 gold. So an extra 150 onto him. The dragon goes towards Lyon, now ahead by 2.5k. It was a good fight, but they just could not get enough damage on quick enough. Ian playing Draven, he has incredible sustain through a Spinning Axe Bloodthirster auto attack. It's a huge power spike for Draven. You mentioned it before, but it's not just the damage up, but because Draven's damage is going to be crazy right now. His axes will hit for a 138 bonus damage. He's hitting for about 300 so damage on a Spinning Axe. But it's also that lifesteal from the Bloodthirster that makes him so sustainable in those engagements. It makes him an incredibly good 1v2, 2v2, just small engagement style champion right now. And that's what let him stay alive so long. It's what let him really finish off Tails, get that bounty, and even out the fight for a 2 for 2.
All right, that was kind of a cute series of events there. First off, Chris, I don't know if he intended to use Dominus to take down the blue buff, but when he did, I just had like this image of him like being in a fighting game. It's like Chris versus blue buff golem fight. That was kind of cute. And then the other thing that was kind of cute was that NACL threw out the lantern as if he was pulling someone in, and that scared Chris into leaving immediately. He was just like, nope, 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 and he just noped the hell out of there. So I like that play, even though there was no one around. Whenever you throw a lantern behind, it's always kind of scary. Now Thiak gonna have to flash the other side of that explosive cast so he doesn't go down. Gonna pull himself back out as Chris tries to get the initiation down. There's a solar flare onto NACL. The Zenith Blade is not going to land, and that actually might give NACL the time he needs to get himself back out of this one. Indeed, it will. Seiya getting taken down very, very low by that barrel roll, but we're gonna see no kills coming down, despite what looked like a really opportunistic moment here for vVv.
Incredible disengagement. That right there is why Flash is so powerful, because all those skill shots, they could have easily land and gotten kills. For example, Thiak from the Gragas ultimate, but it all denied. But Ian going for the kill. One more attack should do it. Picks it up, 164 extra gold from that kill, so giving him an extra about, say, 460, and it's getting further and further ahead of Lucian. Chris going for this kill now, however, he's going to have some company from Pantheon.
Gaunty coming in as well. Thiak wants to get the stun down onto Chris. Chris is almost full damage at this point. No, not almost. Completely full damage at this point. Gets Snuggle coming in from the side. Trying to get it. Oh my goodness, so much damage coming out there. We see Ian going to grab himself up. Yet another kill, another proc of the passive. Going back in onto Gaunty. Now double kill goes down for Ian. That's his third of this series of events, as he's just putting the entirety of the vVv team on their backs.
I mean, you gotta kill Draven, you gotta kill him ASAP. Unfortunately, Chris just does not do enough damage. He's building damage like he said, but because he's going up against a farmed out Draven that is now 5-1-2, is 2-1-2 at the start of the fight, and Chris himself has 50 less CS and is only 1-3. There's not much you can do in that fight, and that DPS for Renekton, it's just not working out quite yet. He's too far behind. He's level 8. His Dominus is barely giving him enough HP to get bursted down. Like, Dominus gives him enough to die slowly. That's what it's doing right now. It's not nearly enough.
Yeah, this Tiamat has not been working out for him, given how little time he's been spending in the lane, shoving and pushing and farming, and how much time he's been spending roaming around trying to help his team and dying. That's his third death of the game now. This has not been fun.
Now, Porky just finished his Sunfire Cake. He's got Sunfire Cake. He did not go for the room from build ASAP. Chris, though,
smart.
Because,
smart in this matchup, honestly. Smart in this situation.
You can do either, and honestly, it both work. It depends on how you want to play that. If you want to go for heavy pushing, Porky goes for the Sunfire Cake. If he wants to go for just, I want to kill Renekton, then you build a Blade of the Rune King. So he wants to go for the safer pushing route, and honestly, Chris doesn't have good response. He does have his own very massive wave clear, but he still can't fight Porky. Porky wins a 1v1 just because of that Cutlass and just because of how much more gold and tankiness Porky has versus Chris right now. That Subjugate will just destroy Chris. Normally, you always want to build damage versus Trundle as Chris because actually Chris going into 3v won this time.
Yeah, this is not going to work out too well. He does pop the Dominus enough to keep him alive. There's a Solar Flare coming down as well. There was a Cocoon as well. They're trying to take this down. Theak's going to go on a rampage as he picks one kill up. Nerso's going to fall down on the other side of it. Two walls of the box and get proc. Seiya comes back in and immediately just nopes out. He's like, I don't think I want to take this one right now.
I don't want to die right now. Let's go ahead and back on out and not engage 3v1 like Chris just did. Chris, he almost survived. It was that Spirit the Elder Lizard that picks him up. So unfortunate for him. But this does give a chance for vVv to actually take an objective down. They do have 2 turrets, but it's been so long since he got them. Since those are the starting turrets. Pantheon, though.
Pantheon going for the man drop on the tower defense. Now we see Draven comes back in. Seiya's going to pick up the first kill. Ian trying to chase this one back down is going to get Snuggle jumping on top of him. He's going to pick up that kill and the additional 146 gold that comes along with it. So another 450 gold kill for him as Porky up in the top lane is going to take tower aggro because of the Sunfire Cape. It's not going to matter because he's going to get one more chomp and down goes the tower.
There's a theory behind Draven passive where if you die to it so much that you're not giving Draven lots of gold from it, it might work out. That theory not working out here though. Draven has about 1,000 gold from the passive. He's not getting massive gold kills because he's just picking up so much at once. 6-1-3, Baron being chunked down. This is a very good Baron team between Trundle, Pantheon, and Draven, so just going to get destroyed incredibly quickly now. And vVv, they're going to be behind by 8 or 9,000 gold even. 8,000 until the Baron kicked in, just giving Seven Wars Lyon such a solid lead now. I don't really know how they can team fight. They don't have an initiator. It's going to be Get Snuggled, who is a little bit tanky with the Spirit of the Elder, the Ancient Golem, but that's not that much HP. Chris, he can run in. He has a Ravenous Hydra. He will die if he goes in for a fight right now. He can try and split push versus Porky, but Porky has
Porky
no
will kill him
face.
too.
Yeah, Porky will
Honestly.
1v1 him, no problem. He doesn't have the Blade of the Rune King quite yet. Still needs 800 gold, but he's got Ninja Tabby, a Cutlass, and a Sunfire Cape, and he's level 11. That's a good level for Porky because that subjugation gets very, very powerful then.
Exactly. I mean, Chris doesn't have any defensive stats at all. Like the fact that a lot of the AD that he's built for himself can get stolen out by the chomp. Let's see. I mean, he's stealing out. Let's see, how much is this? Hang on. Okay. Oh, it changed. I think he's stealing 20 AD and picking up 40 himself. Yeah, he engaged. Yep, that's right. He's stealing 20 AD and giving himself 40 additional AD. Every right click is so much more valuable for Porky than it is for Chris. And then you combine that with the extra tankiness he's got from having the Sunfire Cape already done, and the fact that he can steal HP and armor from Renekton just by popping the ultimate, and that's a completely one-sided 1v1 right now. Despite the fact that it looked like Porky got the shortest end of the stick imaginable in the early phase of this game.
I mean, Porky was level 1 5 minutes in, and he just said, "All right, guys, I'm gonna freeze the lane here. I'm not doing anything till I come back into this game." And vVv responded by trying to pressure him out. They did get some turret damage that's healed by now, but at the end they lost that 2v2 quite handily, gonna give him 2 kills. And Gonti now being caught out does the death sentence, very tanky himself. Can he survive though?
No, Ian's gonna go unstoppable as he picks that kill up. Yet another infusion of Draven passive gold. Slowly pulling himself further and further ahead, and oh my goodness, they're going full on for the dive. They're going to drop the Grand Skyfall down behind it. He's going to put the stun down on the Pika Wolf. Now he gets locked up as well. There's the explosive cast, trying to disengage this one. Nerso's going to find himself alone in the base tower with the inner tower still up. He's going to go down very, very quickly, and that was maybe a little ambitious from the side of Seven Wars Lyon. Now we see actually the pillar coming back out. It's not going to steal Tails onto the other side of the tower. So Seiya's going to go over the wall and drop his burst onto Chris, knowing that he can take him out of the fight. There's the flash stun coming back out one more time. Tails going to try to get himself back out. Flash comes back out, subjugate. One more auto attack with the spinning axe. Going to be good for Ian to pick that kill up. Chris going to turn back around. Seiya goes back in. Is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Chris in response. And just like that, we see it ends up going 2 for 2, but the tower does fall in favor of Seven Wars Lyon.
Lots of trades going on, but unfortunately for vVv, none of those were sprees and none of those were that big fat Draven. So Ian now, oh Seiya just saying, see you to Tails. Tails having no chance there. The burst from LeBlanc a bit too powerful. This is in Athene's LeBlanc, but this is in Athene's LeBlanc with 3 levels over Lucian. Lucian has no good chance of surviving that combo.
No, none. Another 2,000 gold in the pocket here for Draven. So he doesn't quite have IE or Phantom Dancer. Oh, he's got Phantom Dancer for sure. He doesn't quite have IE if he was just going for like a Zeal and then more damage items. But we'll see what the transition's going to be. He's not ready to base just yet. He's grouped up with the rest of the team. They've still got Baron for about another 30 seconds or so. They want to try to continue pushing this out and getting as much work done as they can on these towers.
And notice all the sweepers right now for Seven Wars Lyon. They realize that they don't need the wards because they're just constantly moving in aggressively. They're pressuring enough where they know where vVv is. As Seiya goes into the base, we'll get right on out though, playing that LeBlanc, that very mobile champion. And this bottom turret push, Gragas does have ultimate up. They can try and defend it. If Seiya makes a mistake, he goes down and dies. But this is also going to be such a difficult wave to defend. They cannot let this inhibitor turret go down. Once the inhibitor is down, they are gone. They're already behind by 10,500 gold, but falling even further behind is just so dangerous.
Absolutely, and at this point, the Draven is so snowballed. There's 4 kills on the LeBlanc as well. Even though she went for the Athenes first instead of like some sort of really crazy aggressive build like DFG first item, there's still an insane amount of damage, especially against the squishy targets. There's that burst going down onto Get Snuggled. Thiak's going to go unstoppable. He picks that call up. Gaunty going to pull himself in. We see the explosive cast going down as they try to disengage. Porky will not be able to get himself back out. Goes a little bit too deep in that fight, even for Trundle to come back out the other side. Thiak going to pick up his second kill in the fight. That hook's going to land on a Chris, but no cooldowns are available. He's going to pop the Dominus and now tries to step forward with the rest of this team. They want to try to make something happen right here, but Seven Wars Lyon just backing themselves away, biding their time, waiting for that cooldown to fall down, waiting for an opportunity to go back in and do something like that to Tails. So much burst coming down from Seiya. He's almost able to pick that one back up. Stun goes down onto Chris. He's going to get rooted up by the ethereal chains. The box goes down, and one more auto attack from Ian. He goes godlike as he picks that kill up. 9, 1, and 5 right now on his Draven, as Seven Wars Lyon are just completely controlling this game.
I mean, vVv holds the turret, but they hold it by just throwing their bodies at Seven Wars Lyon. So they don't lose the objective, but they lose an extra 1,500 gold in that final fight. And now Seven Wars Lyon ahead by 10,000 or 12,500 gold. Now, I want to look at some items being built right now. There's a lot of money in the bank for Ian. Thiak can be caught out, though. Will very easily pick up that kill. So unfortunately, Thiak just caught out for a bit too long. But Ian's got 3,000 gold. He can finish up this Phantom Dancer. He can finish up even more. See what he builds. Phantom Dancer into a BF Sword for Infinity Edge, maybe? Or did he just...
Phantom Dancer. There's a BF Sword.
Did he just buy the Last Whisper? There's a BF Sword.
Yeah. I know he had the Last Whisper before. He went BT Last Whisper, but he had only a Zeal and then, like the Crit Cloak. So he completed that in the Phantom Dancer, and wow, he got a pickaxe too. He is really close to 5 items.
Damage with the Spinning Axe right now, and the Spinning Axe can now crit. It's not full on Infinity Edge crit, but it's almost there. He needs about maybe 2,000 gold to finish off the Infinity Edge. Not that much.
It's like 1,000 damage onto squishy champions right now. Pretty
But
sick.
since they have ranged minions, are screwed.
Whoa, whoa, Frank, if you're still around, stay safe. Don't go into work today. This is not gonna be fun.
Crits for 650 on normal auto attacks in the range of minions. That's not going to bode well for members of vVv that are squishy, which right now includes Chris. His only mitigation versus Ian is going to be those Ninja Tabby. Not that much reduction, so he's almost like free lifesteal for Ian in a team fight right now. They have to just kill Draven. That's all they have to do on vVv to not lose right now. I mean, it may not work in the end. They still have to worry about Seiya. They still have to worry about Thiak and Porky. But killing Ian is their only option to even have a chance at winning a team fight right now.
Alright, so they're playing this very patiently right now. Baron's going to come back up in 20 seconds. 7 Wars Lyon have no interest in trying to force the issue right now. They know that they have control of the map. They know that they have control of the game, and they're more than content to just slowly, gradually push this one in. Nerzel's going to spot out the pink ward at the red buff, so they're going to be able to clear that one out. And once they have that, 7 Wars Lyon are basically going to have complete war control of this side of the jungle. It's going to be very, very dangerous for vVv to try to step out to regain ward control or to potentially contest the Baron. And that's why you see members of 7 Wars Lyon finding some convenient hiding spots throughout the jungle and trying to kind of secret themselves away and be ready for any sort of catch or any sort of pick that they might find. Or they might just send Nerzel to solo the Baron.
There you
that
go.
works too.
There you go. He gets over the wall, gets Porky on in there. Once he realized that the bait wasn't being taken, they just rotate towards Baron and they can clear it so quickly it's not really an issue. To put some perspective on gold difference, right now the highest gold number of Tails is, or of vVv is Tails with about 8,000 gold. Ian has over 13,000 gold by now. He is ahead by over 5k of the highest enemy champion, or with the most gold. So that is how big the difference is between Ian and Tails. And that's kind of the difference across the board. He's almost doubling the gold. He's actually more than doubling the gold right now, Nerzel.
Alright, so he's got another 1,200 gold in his pocket right now. He very nearly has the Infinity Edge. In fact, once this dragon falls down, and if he clears out this Wraith Camp, that should just about do it. He'll be able to complete the Infinity Edge and come into this next fight as a, what would that be, 4-item Draven plus his boots.
Yeah, a 4-item Draven
Scary.
with boots. That's one missing item. I think his Draven can normally build a defensive item last, so this is essentially the max of his damage until he hits level 18.
He
still
may
has
not
a
even
little
need
bit of
to.
AD from levels.
He may not even need a defensive item in this game. His team is doing such a good job of keeping him safe, and they're so far ahead. He could,
Like-
I mean, he could just like, I don't know, 6-item Trinity Force. Why not?
I would be okay seeing a second Bloodthirster or Phantom Dancer. I'd be okay seeing almost any item on him. It could be defensive, it could be offensive. His team is protecting him incredibly well. This is a solid 7 Wars Leon. Not the 7 Wars Leon we played yesterday that went team at Teemo.
What's bad about that?
We can go into
It's
details
it's-
about that one later.
It's so alliterative.
It's got alliteration,
How can
I know.
Tiamat Teemo not be so good?
Alliteration is only a quality that goes so far, though.
1200 damage crit onto the ads for the red buff. That's the damage counter for this Draven right now. The damage is reading ridiculous speed, ludicrous speed, one might even say.
His damage has gone plaid.
Alright, so Siseiya jumping in over the wall, getting some good poke down, just trying to force members of vVv back out. 7 Wars Lyon, for all their gold advantage, have not yet been able to broach the base and start taking down some of these inhibitor towers, and that's kind of been the one thing that they haven't yet achieved in this game. They're going to look to rectify that right now. Almost 15,000 gold separating the two sides. Chris going to find himself on the other end of the Grand Skyfall. The Pillar not going to be able to cancel that out as he uses his flash immediately combined with the Slice and Dice. He's got a little bit of extra HP coming in from the Subjugate. He's going to stand on the W, which can give him extra attack speed. We see, gets snuggled, flashes in, forces Porky to flash back out, but Thiak's going to have enough damage output. They pull 2-3 members now of the side of vVv up towards the top lane to try to defend this. However, they are not able to make the tower fall just yet. Seiya gonna find himself inside the base, gonna have to distortion himself back out. And now it's gonna be a 3v2 up in the top lane, so they're conceding the bottom inhibitor tower at the very least to try to pick up some kills. Thiak goes back in, he's gonna fall down. Peek and Wolf's gonna be the one to pick that kill up. And now we see Chris actually chasing down onto Porky if he can pick up this kill. I mean, it will not be the worst thing for them. There's the Ruthless Predator. The W comes back out from Porky. Frozen Domain, going to give him the extra move speed he needs, but there's the Slice and Dice come back out, and Chomp will not reduce the AD enough. Chris does pick that kill up. Now we see Solar Flare down in the bottom lane, so trying to chase this from back down. Ner'zhul is here. Seiya does get the root down on to get snuggled in. My goodness! Bienvenidos a la Liga de Draven, as Ian just crushes down everything standing before him.
I mean, that was a 900 damage crit on to get snuggled. He actually has armor as well. He's trying to build a little bit tanky, but still not enough to survive. Ner'zhul Flash 4 can't land the death sentence. I mean, the reason that Lyon could not burst into the base before is the respawn timers were too short. They were killing people and they'd on vVv, and there goes Tails. There goes Chris, gets poked in, does Slice and Dice out of there. Might actually be able to make it out as in comes Gonti. Can he survive though?
Oh my goodness, Gonti's going to be the next one to go down. Double kill goes down for Seiya. This is just absolutely colossal. They're dominating this game. They're running through the map. We see Peek and Wolf just throws out the ult and almost dies to Seiya's burst anyway. Ian's still standing up here. 1 tap, 2 taps on Chris. Already down below half health. Stand aside, not going to land. They take the lantern and pull themselves back out.
With that, the game's not quite over yet. There was actually a GG said in chat. Not sure by who. It was called actually by vVv, but not quite done yet. So, the reason they couldn't push before was respawn timers, and then vVv would die and just come back to defend. That was how they survived. They just threw more and more bodies at it, and it eventually worked because not everyone has as much lifesteal as Ian. But giving up the inhibitor turret top, giving up the inhibitor bottom, means that they don't have to wait for a minion wave. They can just go top. They just go to the inhibitor, and it will die. Because Ian now, 917, how much gold does he have from Adoration? He's gained 1,300 gold from Adoration. Not actually that much because he's spending more time killing than farming. But with that, the surrender vote comes out, and vVv going home with the loss says, I believe someone's yelling this will be their 3rd or 4th win, their 3rd win so far in the NACL, but they picked up incredibly well.
I mean, realistically, it's their 4th. They crushed us.
They won yesterday, yeah. Let's be honest here, but
they're a bunch of class acts over there. Good guys.
They win because they got 3 Nexuses to explode that game.
Exactly. 3 explosions. So OP. But in either case, big congratulations to them, 7 Wars Lyon, with a dominating performance and just an absolutely colossal, terrifying nightmare Draven carrying the game through the bottom lane. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, it's going to be our final game of the evening that will not include casters making complete asses of themselves. That'll be the fare for the final game of the evening. Coming up next is going to be Curse Academy taking on Teammate. Don't go away.